On this 10th anniversary of 9/11, the WTIU newsroom is exploring how life has changed for Hoosiers. Have people's views changed in regards to the Nation of Islam, intercultural relations, and safety? We explore what's considered normal post 9/11. Indianapolis Airport Security Director Reggie Bumgardner worked in a New Jersey airport when United Airlines Flight 93 from Newark crashed in a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. He says the nation still hasn't recovered from that day.
We got a word over the radio, and look, we could see smoke in the distance. I'll never forget seeing the smoke. It was a very eerie feeling getting back to the airport. Because first time since I'd been there that nothing was really going on. It was just very quiet.
At the Indianapolis International Airport, Chief Operating Officer Mike Medvesic watched as planes scurried to land anywhere they could, including an additional 70 commercial planes at his field alone.
I'll never forget when the tower controller came back to us and said, you know, you can go wherever you want, the airport's closed. And it was an eerie feeling that night because most of us were here for about 3 days.
Security at airports and around the nation changed that day. Indianapolis went a step further, becoming the first city to build a major airport after the terrorist attacks. And passengers flying through the new facility today say they feel safe.
I feel safe because of the search and things that they go through, the cameras, all of that is looking at everything that every passenger brings into the airport and brings onto an airplane. So I think from that perspective, it feels a lot safer.
I got a ticket for $150 round trip to Berlin from Chicago, and I took that trip 1 month after. So I felt safe. I know, things like that happen, and unfortunate for us it happened here in the U.S., but I feel safe with what we're doing.
We've had enough time, and we're kind of taking care of most of the issues. So, and I really haven't even been around any situations where I felt like, this is a little dicey. So I just haven't had any cause not to feel safe.
But Islamic scholars in Indiana, like Faiz Rahman, the former president of the Bloomington Islamic Center, say the feeling of safety has not translated as directly to Hoosiers' views of Muslims. Rahman says it's important to note Islam and Christianity say similar things about the all-powerful nature of a God, including this passage from the Quran, which describes God as the owner of the universe.
A lot of people in society figure out that when somebody, wrongly thinks that just because those terrorists used to be of Islamic faith, that I must be, as a Muslim, must be a part of that or something, that's not the right thing to think about. I'm an immigrant, but I live in this country because I really like it. I love it. But I also criticize a lot of things about it, just because I want it to be better.
IU sociology professor Fabio Rojas will celebrate his birthday on September 11th as others mourn the day. He says the terrorism of the last 10 years has radicalized people, a fact evident in the slaying earlier this year of al-Qaeda's leader.
The American government was able to track down and kill Osama bin Laden almost 10 years later. So from a military perspective, terrorism is not a very smart tactic, but from a symbolic perspective, it's a very strategic thing to do, because if you kill innocent civilians, that will attract attention.
Rojas says directly following the attack, many people of Middle Eastern descent were singled out by the Department of Homeland Security for having Islamic names, even if they had no ties to terrorism. But David Kane, Indiana's transportation security director, insists that was born out of information.
In some cases, people will question, well, why are you doing that? It's rooted in something. It's rooted in intelligence, or it's rooted in events, but there are not decisions that are just made in a vacuum.
Though experts say many of the stereotypical depictions of racial profiling have receded, many Muslims still feel vilified. But Faiz Rahman says if improvements can continue, the lessons of 9/11 may well help the state.
But I think just like any other immigrant community in this country, there is a need of reaching out, telling people who they are.
The new normal looks different than it did a decade ago, but if time heals all wounds, the scars left on Hoosiers who watched the attacks from afar may be on the mend. And for more September 11th memorial coverage, visit our website at indianapublicmedia.org.